If you also love and regularly participate in the nightly ritual of getting together with your friends to hallucinate and roll dice, then you've probably dreamed of turning your love for tabletop games into a job at some point. What's a little less common is actually getting to do it. I asked my friend Benedict back in 2021 if he felt like creating a real-life tavern where people could come and play immersive role-playing games, and to my absolute astonishment, he said yes. One thing led to another, and after a long period of soul-searching and running strange little pop-ups, we finally secured our venue back in August of 2023.
Here we go. There we go. Easy.
We were full of optimism back then. Walking into this colossal white cube filled me with a sense of optimism and excitement. The journey to get to this point had already been pretty tumultuous, but it felt like anything was possible. We'd committed countless hours to planning and accounting for any potential issues that could arise, having even hired an actual, real business consultant at one point. We'd lost sleep over this, and actually learnt how to use Microsoft Excel, which is how you knew we were serious about this venture. So surely nothing could possibly go wrong.
I'm sure that's what we wanted.
That looks good.
No.
We began designing the venue long before we ever stepped foot in its hallowed halls. Almost an entire year ago, we approached the design team at A-Frame Studio and asked if they could help us make a multiversal tavern, and they said yes, which was very nice of them. The idea was to complete as much of the design work as possible before we took over the unit, so we could hit the ground running. We'd hoped to get contractors in there as soon as possible, and after navigating the UK's labyrinthian and often utterly inscrutable licensing laws, it was finally time. We'd set an internal opening date of late November, giving us roughly 4 months to fit out and open the tavern. This seemed reasonable and normal at the time, and like something that could actually happen. After weeks of back and forth via email, people with high-vis vests would sometimes just appear at the venue, only to tell us that, well, a different set of highly specialised people in high-vis vests would need to come by next week, to then give us the clearance to bring in a provisional person with an orange high-vis vest. It was agonisingly slow, but this seemed like normal practice for the industry, and we just didn't know any better. Sometime early in October, we finally had all the people we needed to get the project moving assembled in the venue. All the boxes had been checked, the thing just needed to be built. We asked our would-be project manager if late November was still possible, and everyone kind of just looked at each other awkwardly for a few moments and laughed. It was then we realised that perhaps things weren't going all that well. We were quickly sold on the idea of a phased opening by the project manager. We'd complete the upstairs fit out first to get as many people into the space as possible, and after the primordial nightmare of the Christmas holiday period, we would open the downstairs sometime in January, which sounded great. We were both a little disappointed, as we'd wanted to unveil the space as a fully realised vision, but the prospect of being able to finally open our doors after months of torment made this compromise bearable. All that needed to happen was for construction to begin.
They have many names. He only has one.
Dominic Littlewood, Cowboy Builders.
The UK has always had a strange fixation with the cowboy builder phenomena. Watch this man ambush a cowboy builder with his elaborate and temporally confusing van trap.
Hello, Keith, how you doing? Matt, all right. BBC Rogue Traders. Who? Matt, all right. BBC Rogue Traders. How can you...
This really isn't of much relevance to the story. I just really enjoyed going through these clips. It's great. We'd always been warned about builders and their dark inclinations. It was the one consistent piece of feedback people gave us, aside from, you guys should have Monopoly. For our part, we tried to be vigilant. Our builders came highly recommended, with a decent record of work, and hadn't, to our knowledge, committed any atrocities against God. After a few days of people coming to the venue and saying highly technical things, it seemed we truly were set to go. We just needed a breakdown of costs for all the works that needed to take place. Our project manager assured us he would get this breakdown to us soon and that things would begin moving very fast. This was supposed to take a week, but it soon turned into 2 weeks, and then it was 3 weeks, and then it was almost November and nothing was happening. As the days went on, it became very hard to get in touch with the contractors. They'd miss meetings, dodge our calls, and come up with increasingly implausible excuses. For every delay, there was always an explanation until suddenly there wasn't. After another month of wasted time, they started to ignore our calls completely. It seemed we were on our own once again and no closer to that elusive opening. In the background, we'd taken on staff and trained them to meet this fabled December opening period. There were now other people whose livelihoods were riding on this, and the gravity of the situation was truly beginning to dawn on us. Years of planning and raising funds, and it was all just hanging in the balance as we sat in this awful white box and pondered what to do next. We had one shot to get this back on track, or this would have all been for nothing. Salvation can come from unusual places, and ours was found in an industrial estate in Kent. It's there that we met the fantastic people at Tandem. They've created some really cool immersive experiences and immediately understood our strange little vision for the tavern. It was, in no uncertain terms, a complete reality check, as we spent hours poring over the designs with them. We had to rein in certain ideas to get back on budget, some of which we'd really grown attached to over the years, but it was doable. With their help, we could get this thing back on track. After the holidays, they'd get started, and the Arcanist's Tavern would finally start coming to life. We weren't in the clear yet, though. Months of costly delays had burnt through our original budget, and we didn't want to let any of our staff go just before the holiday period. We had enough left to get Tandem in to complete the upstairs, but that still left a whole lot of cube downstairs. To make matters worse, the downstairs has our role-playing and wargaming spaces, arguably the core of this whole thing that we're building. Deciding what to do next felt utterly paralysing, so at some point in December we decided we'd just do it ourselves. The plan: paint the ceilings black before the contractors arrived, then knock through the walls downstairs and kind of just build it all up from there. But first, we had to budget.
Okay, good. All right, so we got 20.
30, the oven.
Fuck me. Then we got the windows, the demo, the brick. That's 50K plus 20K. That is 70K. That's not bad.
80K.
Really? Fuck me, cousin!
DIY is a fine art that we have laughed in the face of. Painting the ceilings black was the first thing on our itinerary and a real testament to the unyielding power of the human spirit. We wanted to conceal the sound dampening on the ceilings and to make all the piping disappear. It might look questionable, but the final effect was undeniably dramatic. With everyone still alive, we moved on to the demolition, which our upstairs neighbours loved. We soon learned that reinforced concrete is never your friend. Taking the walls down sucked. It was time-consuming, messy, and at one point I broke my fingers, but we got there eventually.
Yep.
After an ungodly amount of rubble was cleared out, the beautification process began, which mostly amounted to painting more walls black. A lot of this will be hidden behind the bookshelves in the archives, but we wanted a simple, weathered stone look for what will be exposed. The guild hall was a bit more of a challenge. For this, we needed to build an ancient stone wall from scratch. We chose insulation foam as it's super cheap and will also help dampen sound coming out of this space. It took about 15 hours of solid dremeling and treating with a heat gun, but I'm really excited to get it painted up and show off the final result. Next, walls had to happen, which involved a lot of math, so I disassociated for a bit and suddenly there was a lot of wood. We're still currently working on the frames and will then build up the space from there. As for the upstairs, things were happening fast, honestly quicker than I could ever hope to document. Every time I returned to the venue or emerged from our darkened pit below, the space looked radically different and I could clearly see our concept for the tavern coming to life. Not only that, but our role-playing tables had been built and they looked incredible. Redbeard Woodworks have honestly brought my dream table to life, and I'm unreasonably excited to try them out. The oppressive white cube that has haunted my dreams for so long is finally gone, and I can't wait to reveal what's coming next. In order to fund our work downstairs and to get the venue open as soon as possible, we've launched a Kickstarter. The support we've already received has been amazing and made the work you've just seen possible. If you're interested in supporting our project, please check it out with the link below.